Fear has a way of making everything feel louder. It places a physical weight on the chest, accelerates the heart rate, and fills the mind with lengthening shadows of events that may never even happen. Anxiety takes an ordinary day and makes it feel incredibly heavy. The root of this pressure usually points toward tomorrow. We project our minds forward and hit a wall of variables we cannot see. What if things go wrong? What if a job is lost, a relationship fails, or a prayer goes unanswered? The human mind treats these unknown future events as immediate physical threats. To survive that feeling of threat, we deploy a psychological defense mechanism. Since we don't know what is going to happen, we try to manufacture certainty. We overplan. We calculate every possible disaster. We stay awake running through endless scenarios, convinced that if we just think hard enough, we can prevent pain. This diagram shows exactly how that internal strategy operates. An unknown future triggers fear. To manage that fear, we grasp for the illusion of control. But because we cannot actually control tomorrow, that failure feeds right back into the original fear. Human anxiety is a desperate internal strategy to gain leverage over an uncontrollable future. The trap of this cycle is that worry mimics the sensation of taking productive action. When that control node is flashing, the brain feels like it is actively solving a problem, but it cannot protect us. Worry cannot actually alter a single future event. It cannot pause time, it cannot force circumstances to cooperate, and it cannot provide stability for the soul. Worry tricks us into believing we are doing the work of protecting ourselves. Even people with deeply held faith frequently get caught in this cycle. They know God exists, yet their hearts remain restless. They slip into the exhausting habit of trying to save themselves through sheer mental striving. The true cost of this striving is paid in the present. Living crushed by tomorrow before tomorrow even arrives requires massive amounts of mental and emotional energy. It drains the exact strength we need to handle the realities of today. Worry acts as an emotional tax paid on a future that hasn't arrived. By the time we finish paying it, we are left bankrupt in the present. 2,000 years ago, Jesus stood on a hillside and spoke directly to a population intimately familiar with the anxiety of survival. These were people carrying severe burdens, living under occupation, and waking up entirely unsure of what tomorrow would bring. He did not offer shallow comfort or deny the stark reality of their pain. He didn't tell them their struggles were imaginary or offer hollow instructions to simply calm down. Instead, he met their very real fears with a logical intervention. He pointed their attention to the local ecosystem, specifically the birds flying overhead and the wildflowers growing in the surrounding fields. This comparison chart maps out his argument. In column A, we have human striving, people consumed by hoarding and anxious labor to secure tomorrow, yielding high anxiety. In column B, we see nature's state. The birds do not plant or store away. The flowers do not work to make themselves beautiful, yet they yield full sustenance from the Creator.
Jesus asks a clarifying question. If God systematically provides for the lesser elements of creation, how much more will He care for you? The deduction is clear. Human beings hold intrinsic value to God. That value guarantees you are seen, remembered, and sustained in a chaotic world. Knowing you are sustained allows for a different experience of peace. But to understand it, we have to look at how wildly Christ's definition of peace differs from the modern social definition. Look at this diagram. This fragile structure represents worldly peace. It is entirely conditional. It only stands upright if it is perfectly supported by the pillars of good health, stable finances, and a total absence of conflict. The problem with conditional peace is its extreme fragility. The moment you get a phone call with bad news, an unexpected bill, or a sudden conflict, a pillar cracks. The entire structure shatters. Jesus offers an alternative. His peace does not rely on perfect circumstances. It is not the absence of chaos. It is an active, enduring presence right in the middle of it. We see this dynamic play out during a violent storm on the Sea of Galilee. Waves were rising, wind was tearing across the water, and panic was filling a small boat. The disciples looked at the crashing waves and perceived imminent destruction. Jesus woke up, looked at the exact same storm, and saw water and wind that were entirely subject to his authority. True peace is not achieved by eliminating the storms of life. It is found by anchoring yourself to the one who commands them. Stepping into that peace requires a shift. We have to move from a posture of frantic striving, white-knuckling our lives to maintain control, to a posture of receiving. This is why Jesus issues a specific invitation. He says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." He directs this specifically to people who are emotionally and mentally exhausted from carrying fear. Notice the tenderness of the approach. He is not disgusted by human weakness. He is drawn toward it. He speaks with compassion to minds that are tired of overthinking and hearts that are quietly falling apart inside. Society demands that you try harder, hide your flaws, and project self-sufficiency. Jesus asks for the opposite. He does not ask you to run farther, pretend harder, or carry more. This invitation changes the human relationship with fear. We are asked to trade the heavy armor of self-reliance for the rest of surrender. This does not mean believers will never feel afraid. Life will still present difficult circumstances, and the heart will still occasionally feel pressure. The promise is not a life free of fearful feelings. The promise is a shift in authority. When Christ becomes the center, fear loses its throne. It no longer controls your daily thoughts and choices. When tomorrow's worries begin to multiply, you can consciously redirect your focus. Tomorrow has its own concerns. Today has grace specifically measured for today. You are never required to face the future alone. The shadows will lengthen and the unknown will rise, but your restless soul is held firmly in the hands of a faithful, present God.